All
Right
right.
off. Right off the bat, we see Belveth taken away for the blue side by CCG. See some hovers, and it will be the Rumble Band decided on by Clown Gaming in the end.
Yeah, Rumble, pretty strong ban on this patch. 3-roll flex, so I do see why it is getting banned. Strong combo with the Jarvan as well. Oh, and there's the Jarvan ban coming out.
I definitely agree. I think Rumble, and Jarvan are some really strong picks currently on the current patch for red side, especially. And then on the blue side, we see the Ashe and Senna banned away because, of course, the other thing you can try to do with the red side of the draft is opt into a double marksman bot lane, as we saw in Worlds. And then lastly, just the Orianna being taken off. I think on the current patch, especially in high elo solo queue, if you're watching any of that, this champion is just turbo OP with the current W max. So I like seeing all of those taken away.
Yeah, Oriana also a really, really good blind pick. Doesn't really have too much losing matchups. She's able to get that push in the early game, able to neutralize those hard lanes. Um, just a really good all-around mid laner for that blind pick on the blue side. We see Aurel being hovered in response, just for that flex potential in the jungle and the support. So we'll see what CG decide.
Yeah, and we'll see if that rel does end up support or jungle. I would expect it to be in Cryogen's hands on this Cloud Gaming roster. He does have vastly more games on the rel than Excelsis in the jungle, as well as he's sort of the voice of this team, highest elo on the team, 845 LP challenger. So seeing him on a playmaker, I think would be ideal for the way this team wants to play.
Yeah, Sivert is actually a really interesting pick too with her ultimate, all that utility, lots of wave clear as well. But they do opt into the Kaisa instead. Very strong carry marksman here. Definitely strong bot side. Definitely now it's possible for Rel to go into the support role, uh, get that early game power.
And we see the way these two team comps are starting to shake up. Jace hover for the Varus, so it looks like CCG might be opting into more of a poke style win condition. And on the flip side, we have a full engage style team comp. Maokai hover for the side of CCG. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Jace Maokai at Worlds. Super strong combo, gives you a lot of river control around these mid-game objective fights, and overall just a lot of poke damage with the Demonic Embrace for strike build from the Maokai.
And as we do see a Salas hover coming out and locked in, uh, not sure the thought behind that. It is definitely an okay pick, but into the Jace is just not the most optimal. Jace does have a pretty good time playing into the Silas, so I mean, wherever they do decide to put the Silas, the Jace can match them there. So we will see how this Silas pick pans out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I like the R4 and B4 bans for both of these teams. Clown Gaming obviously understanding that they need to ensure this Rel Kaisa has a bot lane that they can dominate, that there's no facilitating champions like the Rel to stop them. And on the flip side, CCG know that they need to attack the jungle pool. This Rel is most likely support, and if they can take away any more of these heavy playmaking jungles, it should make their ability to poke a lot stronger moving into these fights.
Yeah, Renata is just disgusting with her ultimate disengage. Rakan as well, really good disengage. Very smart bands coming out from Clown Gaming here. As for CCG, I definitely agree. We will want to see another jungle band coming out, maybe a mid or top lane band, but
As it looks like the Jax is banned, so making sure that it was an emergency sub for the side of CCG with their new player PCL being quite the Jax player, so some respectful ban right there. The Viego hover being another jungle ban, just going over for the side of CCG. We'll see if it is locked in. I do want to touch on the Silas very briefly. We did see this played Vine Debonair last week into the Jace matchup, and he played exceptionally well in that game three, was a big factor in their series victory over Mirage. So we'll see if he can replicate that performance today.
Aatrox being covered by CG. Definitely very strong carry up in the top lane, just doubling down on that engage with that follow up on the Aatrox Qs with the World Ender as well onto the Rel engage. Braum being hovered out by CCG. Very strong counter engage pick with the ultimate, with the passive stacks, on the Varus. Very, very good pickup here for CCG if they do decide to lock it in.
Yeah, and we can see the Braum being hovered, very excellent defensive pick. I'm worried a little bit for the side of Clown Gaming in terms of what jungle picks they really have left. There's no super strong engage champions, which means they might end up flexing this Rel to jungle and locking support.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I can't think of very many picks that would slot in well. If we see the Fiora locked, Poppy could be a possible pick, but we'll have to see. But on the flip side, CCG may be throwing the gauntlet down into this Aatrox matchup with the Fiora. In higher elo, this is a very heavily skill-based matchup,
Mhm.
but Aatrox actually can and does tend to win just because he has control over wave push and he sort of decides when the Fiora has to riposte. But obviously, the lower down the skill ladder you go, Fiora heavily wins this matchup. So we'll see how that one ends up panning out.
Ericon could be a really nice pickup here for Clown Gaming. Getting that engage in the bot lane with that charm, with that knock up there. Very, very good pick. Follow up on these engages. Be the playmaker. Very good pickup.
Yeah, and so the dust has finally settled. We see two team comps with very different styles to each other. CCG are going to be looking obviously to control the river in these mid games, get side lane push with the Fiora, and then utilize their 4-man death ball to just poke and aggress on different sides of the map. On the flip side, Cloud Gaming is going to be looking for those 5-man all-ins, getting clean flanks off by the Rakan or the Rel, CCing up the enemy team, and making sure that they have no chance to fight back as the Kaisa and Silas just burst them down.
Yeah, lots of poke on the side of CCG. Clown Gaming will definitely have to keep that in mind. Dodge out on those Jace Qs, on those Varus Qs as well. Those Mount Kai saplings in the river, in the bushes. To keep a healthy health pool for when they do decide to engage on them, to ensure that they can win the fight. Get that CC layering down on the carries of CCG.
Yeah, and so with regards to the early game, I'm looking for, on the side of Cloud Gaming, I want this Rel to really play for the top matchup. I think bot should be fine enough in isolation. It's obviously very difficult to lane into a poking style champion like Varus as a short range AD carry like Kaisa, but they need to make sure that this Aatrox doesn't fall too far behind in the Fiora matchup, that he's able to match her in the side lanes going into the mid game. And then in the mid game, obviously they want to be playing for the river control, making sure that Jace doesn't have time to set up, Maokai doesn't have time to get those saplings in those bushes. So we'll see which team is able to successfully deny and play towards those win conditions.
Yeah, for sure. Both teams definitely going to be getting some, duking it out a little to maintain that river control because you don't want Maokai Jace just being able to set up there, having lots of control, lots of like choke point pressure and, stuff like that. So we will definitely see a little bit of scuffling. I do think Clown Gaming has a lot better pick potential than CCG, although, they do have the Varus, they do have the Maokai. But Clown Gaming, with that Rel, with that Silas, and with the Kaisa follow up, can absolutely, sit in these bushes, wait for the Maokai to come into the river to try to get that control and just surprise him.
Exactly. And rather than champion matchups, two player matchups that I'm interested in watching specifically are going to have to be just one into Cryogen in the support matchup. Both of them are the highest LP players on their team. Cryogen 937 LP, or sorry, excuse me. Cryogen is 845 LP, and just one is 1007 LP. So super high elo supports for both of these teams.
Hmm.
Most assuredly, the shot callers for these teams. Cryogen on the playmaking support, and Just One, on the other hand, on a more defensive disengage and turn support. So we'll see which of them is able to effectively command their teammates and take control of this game and lead their team to victory.
Yeah, definitely. Silas, into the Jace matchup in the mid lane. I think that's definitely going to be something to look out for as well, to see if we can get this jungle prio. Jace is definitely going to be able to get it in the early game, unless if the Silas does play exceptionally well, is able to dodge out on those abilities, on that poke in the early game. And, Jace I would say scales a little bit better into the mid game with that first strike setup. If he does opt into it, does do a lot of damage if you can get the full combo out onto these carries on Clown Gaming. So definitely they're gonna have to look out for something like that happening.
And that does actually bring up one of sort of the win conditions for this poke composition. When you're playing into characters like Kaisa and Silas and Aatrox, they don't actually have a ton of sustain off of minion waves, but they do
Mhm.
have a lot of sustain in team fights and a lot of survivability in team fights. So when you're playing a poke composition into champions like this, you want to get them too low to the point where they can't possibly sustain in the team fights. Even if
Yep.
you land a couple arrows onto the Aatrox, if he's not blinking health bar, if he's still at 50%, he should still feel pretty comfortable engaging into the enemy team because he knows once he pops that World Ender, once he goes in, gets those Gore Drinker procs, he'll just be right back up to full. But if you can get him down to like 20%, 10%, then he's obviously not comfortable in that health region, and it should just be a clean teamfight victory for CCG. So we'll see if they'll be able to accomplish that. And we'll see if Clown Gaming is able to clutch up these team fights and dodge those key spells.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely don't want to get poked out too much. I mean, that's pretty much the only way they can lose these fights, as they do have a lot of follow up on the engage. So, I definitely agree with what you have to say. Dodging those key spells is going to be something they're going to have to definitely keep in mind there. And I mean, going back to the mid lane matchup, I think Rakan might want to look for these mid lane roams, as Jace, if he doesn't take phase rush, does have a hard time escaping ganks. It is a little difficult for him to get out of those situations. The Rakan knockup, can instantly force him to flash, and we can look for a re-gank like a minute later with the Rel and the Rakan to guarantee Silas getting that lead, making sure that Jace won't be a large problem in these mid game fights, in these late game fights, dishing out all that poke. So definitely gonna see how Rakan decides to play this out.
Yeah, and touching on the last matchup that we haven't really gotten to talk about, once again, going over to this Aatrox Fiora matchup, Boil the Oil. Obviously, Aatrox is one of his more practiced champions, third most played in solo queue, has a pretty solid 55% win rate on it. On the other hand, we see PCL. Fiora's is eighth most played in solo queue. Granted, he has a lot less solo queue games concentrated on his top characters in comparison to Boil the Oil, but certainly a lot less practiced. So we'll see. Maybe he has an alt account where he plays a lot of Fiora. We'll see if he's comfortable in this matchup or if it will end up going towards that Aatrox's favor.
As we finally get into the game after a long wait.
Yeah, we'll have to see if each of these respective team comps will be able to play to their early game win conditions. Obviously, if you're running Jace Maokai, you want to utilize that Jace push, that Maokai bush control to move this two-man team around and generate leads for your team. So we'll see if CCG is able to successfully do that, or if Clown Gaming will be able to hit their level 6 power spikes all in and find the team fights that they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this Kaisa does. I think she does have the potential to completely go off on onto CCG. There is a good amount of lockdown with the Maokai and the Varus follow up, but I think with her ulti, she does have a good amount of mobility, and with her E, good amount of mobility to traverse these team fights, dodge those key spells, get that dish that insane amount of damage that she does have in the mid game, with her passive, with her items. So definitely will be interesting to see if this Kaisa can make these plays.
Yeah, definitely. And it is worth noting, Zev in their last series had an insane performance on multiple characters, got a pentakill on Callista, and a pretty difficult team comp to play Callista into, I would say. Poppy and Talia present on the enemy team, still able to put up quite the performance, so we'll see if he's in similar form today and is able to carry his team to victory.
Yeah, and on the opposite end, in terms of champions that I can, or players that I think can definitely uh, be the deciding factor, we're looking at this Fiora being able to, win out those mind games in the top lane, getting those, ripostes onto the Aatrox, guaranteeing those vitals, getting that ultimate off, getting those solo kills potentially. I do think that she can be a menace in the side lane, and if Aatrox isn't able to, stay even with her, it's definitely going to be something that's very, very difficult for Clown Gaming to deal with later on in the game as Fiora does get into those 2-3 item stage where she is easily able to 1v2, 1v3 even if she is ahead. So definitely going to have to keep an eye on that top lane matchup.
All right, sounds good. I mean, we've done a lot of theorizing about how these matchups are going to go, Blade. It'll be exciting to see it in action once we do load into this game. I'm really looking forward. I think when you get to watch poke versus engage style teams, there's a lot more thinking you can see behind the movements of these players. It's not quite the same as when you watch two front to back teams fighting, and it sort of comes down all to that execution. How good are these players on their keyboards? How fast can they, input their spells? We get to see a lot more thorough play style, I would think, from both of these teams. One team taking the time to set up, and the other one sort of finding these paths and vision, these ways they can sneak through and find that golden engage that they're always looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and we are in as both of these teams rush out of their respective fountains. It's looking like a 5-point defensive start for both of these teams so far. Just early in the series, game one of a best of 3. Don't want to go for anything crazy quite yet. Just sort of feel things out and try and squeeze in that vision where you can.
Yeah, it is slightly difficult to invade for either a comp, I would say. So definitely, just smart to just 5-point, not try to force anything. Just try to, feel out how this game, will play out, just without any shenanigans, without any cheesing. Actually, as I say that, we do see invade coming a little bit.
Good
Coming
Bramble
off the blue
Smash comes
side.
forward, but the Shattering Strike from the Rel means that she's able to walk away to safety. However, starting Q on the Rel is certainly not ideal for the... Actually, I believe it might be the meta spell for the Rel clear, but it does mean that she'll be locked into clearing either the Raptors or the Wolves to start. And with the ward down on the red buff for the side of CCG, they'll know pretty soon that Rel is starting on the red side and be able to adapt accordingly.
Yeah, definitely not the biggest deal. Oh, Estella says
Chain
that
comes forward, just a trade in the mid lane. Definitely not what you want to see for the Jace at the start of this lane. Silas getting a pretty favorable trade as he brings the Jace down around 200 HP.
Yeah, very smart from Debonair, just fishing for that. If he does land it, he will get that, big payoff, which we did see happen. So very smart of him to look for that, early game.
Some light scuffles in the top lane. Aatrox tends to be rather weak up until level 5, just due to the very long cooldown of his Q spell. So we'll see if Fiora is able to utilize getting him to spend that cooldown early in this lane. As you can see, both these bot lanes jockeying over that level 2 spike, neither wanting to give up push. We'll see which team ends up walking away with the push and the level 2 first. It's looking like it will be Clown Gaming though.
Yeah, as they do secure the level 2 advantage, CCG just keeping their distance, making sure that they don't, take any unnecessary fights. In the mid lane here, Debonair making very, very good use of his first strike, knowing that he does have that combat keystone into that phase rush. He is able to, get a little bit more damage if he is able to start the combo off. So very good. Oh,
There's another heavy trade goes in, but the Maokai flashes forward, Bramble Smash, and Silas is just dead. Debonair, it looks like they were trying to hand the kill over to the Jace, but unfortunately the kill confirmation does come through onto the Maokai. Nonetheless, a clean first blood for the side of CCG as the Silas falls in the mid lane.
yeah, smart play by Maokai. Just seeing that the mid laners are trading heavily, just getting there a little earlier, skipping his top quadrant just to get there and make sure that they can secure that kill. He knew that if he did hit that flash W, that Silas would be taken down. Very, very good awareness by the jungler for CCG.
Yeah, you can see the fast reactions from Debonair as he tries to flash further under his tower, but unfortunately for him, he's already too low from these heavy trades that he's been opting into with the Silas. And you can see here, this is sort of the biggest danger as a melee in a ranged matchup, if you take too much damage, you're very prone to dying to jungle ganks, even if they manage to dive you and you're safe under that tower.
Yeah, this matchup isn't gonna get any easier. Definitely. So you see a two-man Rakan knockup coming up. Definitely not gonna amount to anything there though. But yeah, that matchup in the mid lane definitely not gonna get any easier. Messages able to keep his flash while Debonair having to expend his, so he can look for those all-in trades.
Some clean trading from Fiora. She manages to slide past that Q3 and should proc another Vital on her way out. So some very well placed Fiora spacing in this topside fight, as Boil the Oil is really getting cooked for now in this top matchup. However, the wave is coming into him. He should be able to farm this one safely, but nonetheless, a pretty significant 16 minion lead for the topside laner of CCG.
Yeah, both solo laners on the side of CCG do end up getting that lead very, very, you know, very.
And it looks like a topside dive will be breaking out. Maokai takes the tower damage first, the riposte comes through, and the Jace EQ for the additional assist as the top laner of Cloud Gaming does fall. Kill goes over to the Fiora. You definitely hate to see it in these topside matchups, as she'll soon be able to snowball out of control. 22 CS lead and a kill to boot. And it looks like Cloud Gaming opting to trade on the bottom half of the map will be picking up this first dragon of the game. Mountain. Being able to stack dragons for their team is actually quite nice. It means you'll force these sort of mid-game teamfights to come if they can manage to get that 2 Drake lead, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to reach that point, or if these individual solo kills and solo lane gold will be able to allow CCG to take control of this mid-game.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about in the pre-game. Fiora just getting that lead, in the top lane. She will be likely able to snowball into this mid game, and it's going to be very hard for Aatrox or Silas to match her in that side lane. She will have a lot of pressure, so it'll be very interesting to see how CCG utilizes that to confirm these objectives, confirm these 4v5s, or even 3v5s, as we see. Someone will have to match 3v4s, as someone will have to match the Fiora, and I don't think one person can do it based on how it's going currently. So definitely we'll have to wait and watch out for that.
And it is worth noting really quickly the itemization we're seeing so far. We see the Sheen on Fiora, so in all likelihood, it will be either the Triforce or the Sunder on her, which we have been seeing a little bit more of these Iron Spike whip-based build, the Gore Drinker and the Stride Breaker in solo queue. However, a lot of individual 1v1 power for the Fiora when she goes these Sheen proc items. We'll see if she's able to make an impact on the side lane, as it looks like Cloud Gaming going forward. The Kai'Sa dashing in, Grand Entrance lands onto the Braum as they dash back. As the Realm manages to flip the Braum as he goes forward, force the flash away. The Maokai is finally here as the Kai'Sa cleanse flash away, but she does go down to the Varus as he has this lethal tempo proc. He's hitting and stacking, and he's able to take down the AD carry of Cloud Gaming as CCG walk away with a victory in this skirmish.
Yeah, and that is just absolutely, very sad to see for Cloud Gaming. Kai'Sa having to expend both summoner spells and still not being able to survive, as we do see a gank coming out in the mid lane from the top laner.
Yeah, the Fiora has roamed down flash, forced away by Debonair, as he will be able to leave. At the very minimum, the Fiora ultimate was invested for this gank, so this should alleviate a little bit of top side pressure, but you can see just losses across the map for Cloud Gaming. However, in their last series, they did have a couple games where their early game did also not go quite that well for them. So we'll see if, just like those last ones, they're able to keep that mental on lock. Aatrox winning this trade pretty heavily with the Fiora, invests the World Ender. She doesn't have R, so she's forced to run away, still has the flash. We'll see. QE lands as Fiora flashes away, and it will be the solo queue for Boil the Oil in the top lane as he finds that victory over this Fiora, despite the early game lead that she was granted by her team.
Very smart flash by Boil the Oil. I'm pretty sure he did not have vision on Fiora flashing, but he did just end up predicting it, getting that, securing that kill. He did see PCL use his ult in the mid lane to get that Silas flash out, and he saw that he had the opportunity with the level advantage.
Oh no!
On the topside river.
Cloud Gaming are trying to leverage this solo kill into a topside victory, but Debonair is caught out. However, he's not dead yet. He's running away. Q flash forward by the Jace. He's able to secure the kill onto the Silas, but the Aatrox has now arrived as Rel is leaping forward. Flash to confirm the kill onto the Jace, and it looks like messages should be going down. Kill converted onto the Aatrox. And you can see there, Debonair getting a little bit ahead of himself. He saw that Braum on the ward, but was unaware of the Maokai and Jace in the bush behind him. And it will be the eventual victory for Calm Gaming, as they should surely secure this Rift Herald.
Yeah, Debonair dying there is definitely have to be a consequence of his flash, being down, as he did get ganked as soon as it was back up from the earlier Maokai gank. Definitely getting a lot of pressure on by the other players on CCG.
Both teams posturing again. It looks like CCG don't want to give this up, but they will be forced to. The Kaisa had first rotation from the bot lane. Varus, you can see, finally about to start hitting this tower. We'll see if he's able to convert one plating off of the Kaisa moving early, or if it will just be that wave push that he wins. But nonetheless, a good comeback for the side of Cloud Gaming, as they're able to secure both a kill and the Rift Herald in the end.
Yeah, CCG may be ahead in kills, but Cloud Gaming do have the lead in objectives. They did get the first Dragon, and they ended up getting the first Rift Herald. The first Rift Herald, definitely one of the strongest, or definitely the strongest early game objective you can grab, securing those plates, for the jungler and the laner that he decides to, pop it in. So we will see if he does decide to, accelerate that Aatrox up in the top lane, who already has this kill lead over Fiora, even after she did get that kill on him earlier. We will see what Relis has to do.
Yeah, and you saw in that top fighting sort of why Aatrox tends to win, as the Grand Entrance does come through onto the Varus, but it will just be the Guardian proc and then a back away. So you can see sort of why Aatrox tends to, in a vacuum, win these matchups. The Fiora might be able to riposte the spell, but he's able to control if he's hit by it, as the Grand duel is requested by the Fiora, but unfortunately she is not able to close out on those last two vitals. World Ender is traded back for it, but it will just be a health trade for these two top laners, as the Fiora gains the top push.
Yeah, we saw Fiora, hit those vitals and was looking pretty good until Aatrox, all he had to do is hit one Q3 with his ult, and he healed back to almost half HP, and he did have that health lead. Very surprising for the Fiora there, as we see CCG contesting the second Drake, getting that advantage there in the river, making sure that Cloud Gaming can't walk in, and with this poke, it's definitely hard for them to walk through that choke point, and they will just give it up.
Yeah, Cloud Gaming just fishing for a play there. Obviously very hard to enter these river entrances, as we mentioned. Once the Jace, once the Maokai have already set up, it's super difficult to force your way into these choke points, so they are forced to give that Chemtech Dragon up. It will be the Cloud Soul this game, so you can argue one of the least impactful souls, but I actually think in this game specifically, Aatrox, Rakan, and Kaisa can all be very devastating with that Cloud Soul. That extra movement speed really makes their positioning in team fights super menacing to play against, so we'll see if that ends up being played for by the side of Cloud Gaming, or if CCG will manage to keep maintaining river control.
Yeah, I agree with the statement on the Cloud Soul. Aatrox is an absolute menace with it. Just, with his ult movement speed, coupled with the Cloud Soul, just makes him, extremely fast, extremely sticky, extremely hard to get away from. So we will see, if CG are able to secure that, then it'll definitely be interesting to see how that Aatrox matchup does fare to the rest of the team comp, as Braum does look maybe a little caught here, but he is able to walk away safely.
Yeah, a little cheeky cancel by the Rakan there. Some more trading in the top lane, as the wave should surely crash for the side of Fiora, so she's losing creeps, opting for this trade. Does manage to riposte the chain and then dodge the Q3, but overall losing gold to go for that. So a bit of a curious decision. The Herald will be popped in the mid lane for the side of Cloud Gaming. Should be giving that gold over to the Sylas. And it looks like the Herald will just get cleaned up right after. We do see the rest of Cloud Gaming is rotating down as they're looking for this fight. Rakan Grand Entrance is rooted up by the Maokai and cancelled. Yeah, almost a quick one.
Lots of ults invested here from the side of Cloud Gaming. We saw the Whirl ult and the Sylas ult coming out. Definitely that could end up being detrimental to them later on before it is back off cooldown. We will see if CCG is able to punish that engage.
Yeah, really well played by the Maokai there. He holds his spells for the correct timing, manages to cancel the Rakan engage, uses the Q to cancel the Rel engage. Super well played by the side of the jungler of CCG, as the Fiora will be returning to base. Just taking a quick look at the items. We do see item completions for the Sylas, Maokai, and Kaisa,
Ooh.
as Jace takes a pretty favorable trade in the mid lane. Surely Sylas will be forced back. As you can see, CCG is in the mid river, they're hovering him, and he has full support from his comrades.
Yeah, Salas does have to base, but at least it's not, at a time where an objective is up. That is probably the only, saving grace for that. As we do see the Radiant Virtue completed for the Rel, just getting that extra team fight potential there. As we do see Silas TPing out, but will not amount to anything in the end.
Yeah, hoping to catch that Jace off guards, but fortunately for Jace, the Braum is in the area, is hovering him. It looks like CCG is looking for a play onto the Kaisa. Oh, the Braum ult is
Oh
clean,
my.
forces the cleanse and the flash from the Kaisa, but she's not able to escape. The Maokai is leaping forward, the Sylas is now here with the Braum ult. Huge ult by design of the mid laner of Cloud Gaming, but unfortunately it's not enough. The Maokai smashes him down as he smashes the rest of his team, and he's flashing forward, smashes the Rakan down once again, and it's just a 3-0 for the side of CCG. Unfortunately, Cloud Gaming completely routed in this engage.
Yeah, extremely well played by Just One, keeping Lunar alive. He was able to, really hit on the whole team for Clown Gaming, just uncontested. When the Silas did come in, he was able to save him, and, that just results in this dive onto the Rel. 4-0 for the side of CCG. Very unfortunate play for Clown Gaming.
Yeah, and this Maokai is just so fed now. Completely accelerated by this extended play. Picked up 4 kills overall with that last one on Rel coming down a bit delayed. So we'll see which build he opts in to go for. And typically it is the Radiant Virtue. So as a Cloud Gaming fan, you have to be happy. At the very least, the kills didn't come through on the Jace or the Varus. It looks like Fiora might be caught out here. Grand Entrance, as the World Ender is pumped, forces the flash from PCL as he runs back to the safety of his tower. So some minor consolation prize for the side of Cloud Gaming as they managed to get the first play on the top half of the map.
Yeah, and talking about itemization, if we just look at this Maokai, he is actually opting for the Leandries. He does realize he's extremely fed. He can be a damage threat. It would have been more interesting to see him go for that tank setup, because I do think it's a little difficult for Clown Gaming to, do damage to him if he does end up getting a lead and does build full tank. So I think that would have been a little more optimal, but going full damage is definitely not a bad choice here. You do get that tankiness with the demonic embrace a little bit. So, using his lead and those 4 kills he got in that fight, to dish out some damage, definitely not the worst idea.
Yeah, I really like the adaptation for the side of the jungler of CCG. I think ordinarily that Radiant Virtue build tends to be the most powerful on Maokai, but recognizing that he's accelerated, he's the one that's fed, he's the one that needs to be putting out the damage for his team is super smart. We'll see if a contest is made over this Cloud Drake. You see CCG opting for the top side of the map control, instead pushing with that Jace on that inner tower, rotating their team from the mid. It looks like they might be attempting a dive on this Aatrox. We'll see if Cloud Gaming will react or if they'll opt into going for the Cloud Drake as the Herald is summoned in the top lane.
I think Messages taking those 2 tower shots might end up costing CCG this team fight, as he is pretty low. Almost half HP, and we do see CCG, not wanting to take this fight, because of what he did up there. So definitely smart to call that off for CCG.
And really smart map movements for the side of CCG as well, recognizing that they don't have control of the river. Their poke comp needs that first setup in order to play properly. So just like, you know what? We're not even going to bother to fight the dragon. We're going to rotate to the top side, try and get that extra tower gold. You can see that top inner tower is just on a fraction of health, and these inner towers are worth so much gold on the current patch. I think around 700 gold individually if you're the one that takes it, due to the increased local gold being around 600, 650. So we'll see if they're able to continue building that gold lead. This Fiora is going to be a menace in the side lane, and it's already a 6k gold lead for the side of CCG.
Yeah, Clown Gaming, although they were able to secure those early objectives, actually we do see a fight coming up in the top lane.
Yeah, minor scuffle. It looks like the Aatrox should be fine, has the tab eyes, so he's able to just back away to safety. But you can definitely see what this Sunder will do is the Rakan.
Oh my goodness.
The grand entrance onto 2 is the Sylas is there to follow up, and the Rel engage is clean. The shutdown goes over to the Kaisa. As Braum is trying to escape, Jace goes in, but unfortunately, They're out of damage. Their Varus is gone, and Silas is flashing it forward. The chain lands onto the Maokai, into the Zhonya's, the grand entrance once again, as Zev is able to pick up another kill onto the Braum, and Jace has no flash. He just invested it. He has nowhere to go. It will be 2 traded over for the side of CCG, but Kaisa is able to ult forward. Oh, Jace is knocked up once again by the grand entrance. The Rakan is dipping and diving out of these fights, but the Maokai damage has been stacked up. He's able to get so much value from this Leandries, as it's the 4 for 3 in favor of CCG.
Oh no, that Silas chain, I don't think that's the person that he was trying to hit. Him just going in there and having to, use that stopwatch there. I think that was the nail in the coffin for Clown Gaming. Very, very aggressive play by Debonair. A little too aggressive. This Maokai is just absolutely demolishing their team, taking no damage at all, even though he is going for that, building AP, definitely also increases his healing from his passive, just makes it so he's so durable in these fights. Even though he, did off for the Leandries, he's very deceptively tanky, and it's just absolute disaster for Clown Gaming.
Yeah, and from an even position, that team fight would have been perfect for Clown Gaming. But unfortunately, they're not in an even position. They're behind. And that just meant that they didn't have the damage on their carries to fully utilize and make advantage of that nice engage by the Rakan and the Rel. And also failing to take note that Maokai is the one who's accelerated. He's the one who's getting to freely DPS in this team fight because their focus was on the Varus and Jace, who, in fairness, would normally be your target in these team comps. But unfortunately for them, the Maokai does live. He does bring his team to victory. And it is another dragon going over to the side of CCG.
Yeah, the Rakan engage with the Rel follow-up looked really good until they realized they didn't have enough
engage him at
damage
top lane. The Silas is looking for a solo kill, but is just knocked away. Both teams rotate up, protecting their respective mid laners. Clown Gaming is here first, but it looks like they'll be forced away and nothing will come of this play.
Yeah, it's just the Baron spawning. CCG definitely have the river control, which is exactly what they want with their team comp. Maokai just, getting those saplings in these bushes into this river, making sure that Clown Gaming can't really walk in. As we do see Braum going for the engage, Rel having to use her W to get out of there. Definitely going to be very difficult for Clown Gaming to enter their own jungle with this control that already has been established by CCG.
And you can see CCG know how ahead they are. They know how much control they are. Right now they're just jockeying for control of the red side jungle. Once they get it, they're basing for wards now, and they should be looking to start up this Baron on the next 1 or 2 waves now that they've managed to get control. There are a couple wards still for the side of Clown Gaming that hopefully should get spotted if they do attempt this Baron, just to make sure there's no flank engages. But you can see CCG know confidently they are in the driver's seat and they are going to keep pushing this advantage.
Yeah, I don't know what Clown Gaming is gonna have to do to get back some control. Maybe when CCG does decide to start up that Baron, they will have to enter in a disadvantaged state. Having to take all that poke from the Maokai saplings, the double burn items with the Jace, 2 items already, Mirror Mana completed with the Varus as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Varus also does have so much peel from his teammates. It's going to be very difficult for Clown Gaming to get that elimination onto him, to stop him from DPSing. So we're going to have to see how they end up playing these fights out.
Now, is the Baron being started up for the side of CCG? Sort of a double-edged sword for these poke comps. It's super slow for them to take, but if they manage to get it, they're super destructive with it. As the Fiora comes through in the bot lane trade, but Aatrox is under the safety of his tower. But Clown Gaming can't find a way into this pit. The Rel W comes forward, but she's not able to find anything for it. The Braum is onto the Silas and forces the flash away as the Baron will go down for the side of CCG. And the Jace is leaping onto the Kaisa, just one-shots her, unaware that she's in the bush, and a double kill for Jace.
Yeah, Jace hitting those shock blasts earlier on just guaranteed that, that follow-up with the hammer form, getting those 2 kills onto the jungler, onto the ADC, getting him even more fed than he already is, so much gold he's sitting on. You see ult being popped for Aatrox here. Oh, flash by
Oh,
both
good
top laners.
flash trade for both of those top laners down there. As the Silas, you can see he's looking for this Jace, hoping to get the shutdown. Jace is quite low on mana, but he's opting into this 1v2. We'll see if he's able to escape. The Rakan has the acceleration gate from the Silas. Should be able to land this grand entrance as
Oh,
it does come through. Stun goes wide by the Rel as he's looking onto the kill with the Silas, but he just does not have the mana to finish this kill. We'll see if they're able to hand this kill over to the Silas as they want, but he's actually able to proc the face rush, and the flash is forced by the Rel. He's able to trade a kill onto the Silas. Oh my word, Messages
messages.
just completely outplays the three-man team of Clown Gaming and escapes with his life.
That phase rush coming up back up for messages was, exactly what he needed to secure that kill into Debonair and get away. So unexpected, very, very well played, utilizing that speed from his keystone just to absolutely demolish the mid laner for CG. Very well played by messages there.
Yeah, you can see Clown Gaming playing a bit greedy there. They want to get this gold onto the Silas. They want to bring him back in the game. But when you're down this far in gold, you don't have the luxury of getting to save kills like that. They should have just kept DPSing and gotten the gold onto whoever managed to secure the kill. But unfortunately, they paid the price for their greed with their life as Debonair goes down, and the Fiora, looking for a cheeky 1v1, does just pop the Fiora and run away. We'll see if the Rakan is able to connect. Misses the grand entrance as the Fiora queues away, and they're losing everything on the other half of the map. The Jace is taking the mid lane tower, the enemy bot lane is taking their bot inhib, and everything is just coming up zero for the side of Clown Gaming as they keep fishing for these engages, but they're not able to land anything on their hooks.
Clown Gaming definitely gonna have to pull off a miracle engage here. We see the Aatrox going in, but to no avail. Rel is gonna have to make a miraculous play to bring this back. We're gonna have to see that disgusting wombo combo with the Rel and
Rakan coming
Rakan.
through for the Silas. It's gonna have to be the last stand as the Rakan flashes forward, but he's rooted himself and he quickly goes down. The Varus is flashing forward onto the Kaisa. He's DPSing the Jace. He's dealing with the Silas himself as this Varus is just outputting so much damage in these fights, and it will be a complete team wipe. The Kaisa standing alone in her base as the Nexus explodes. A clean victory for CCG in 25 minutes.
Wow, that was definitely a
Ooh.
masterclass performance by CCG. Just look at this gold difference, nothing to scoff at. This Jace damage, absolutely off the charts. With those early ganks from Maokai, just able to accelerate this Jace into this mid game. Absolutely snowball out of control. No response possible from Clown Gaming. We weren't able to see those engages come out by Rel and Rakan. It's just definitely not how they wanted to play that game out.
Yeah, and it's hard to levy a ton of criticism at the side of Clown Gaming. This was just very well played by the Maokai Jace. When it's played to this level, it's super oppressive. It's so hard to find the cracks in that defense. And you can see Clown Gaming did manage to find those cracks a couple times, but they just lacked the gold. They were too far behind already to make anything of it. And unfortunately, it just means that they're completely routed in the game. A monstrous performance on the Jace by the side of messages. 29k damage for the whole game, just completely taking over.
Yeah, I mean, I think those, that early Rift Herald from the side of Clown Gaming, we would have liked to see that go top lane, with that Aatrox, just try to, accelerate him to the next level, get those plates, get that first tower potentially, just so he could, snowball that matchup that he ended up getting back into, but it just wasn't possible. Fiora just able to, scale into the mid game, getting her core items and being able to be a menace in the side lane. Very, very, uh, well played by the side of CCG.
Yeah, they just bit off a bit more than they could chew at times where they were just too weak to win their fights. That big one being the Maokai getting the triple kill into another kill on the bot side of the map. Unfortunately, just giving over that much early gold really derailed their game plan for the rest of the game. But hopefully, those are just some minor adjustments. Reset the mental, understand, hey, we need to understand when our characters are strong, what are our item spikes, should we be looking for fights on this, or are we actually at a disadvantage, and play with a bit more restraint. And I'm confident with the clean engages that we were able to see from Cryogen that they should be able to bring it back in game 2.
Yeah, just going back to what we were talking about a couple minutes earlier with Maokai, with that fight, where he got all those kills and accelerated himself and, went for that damage item. He did do 18k damage, which is, more than anyone on the side of Clown Gaming. So, I think that was a very good optimization for him to, pull out there after he did get that unofficial quadra kill. Um, just something I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, definitely a clean performance for the jungler of CCG. We'll see what adaptations these teams choose to go for in the side in game two. I'm expecting before we even really see anything of it that Cloud Gaming will target this poke style comp from CCG a bit. They looked super practiced on it, super clean positioning from everyone, and super smart decision making at pretty much every phase of the game. So rather than try and find a way to crack it in a best of three, I think it's better to just take it off the table, bring them, force them to come to the table with a different comp that you might be able to combat.
Yeah, I would love to see Clown Gaming do something with this Maokai. I think their jungler looked very, very comfortable on that pick, able to maneuver around, get those ganks out. And even in those fights, just absolutely knowing exactly what to do, exactly where to be, exactly knowing what abilities to use to counter the engage from Clown Gaming. So I think that's something they're definitely going to be looking at for this next phase.
Yeah, hopefully. And then, unfortunately for both these AD carries, they didn't really have, much of a time to shine. The Kaisa didn't really have time to scale up, get her Navori's quick blades. You saw her on the BF sword component for a large chunk of the mid game. Just never had the damage to sort of show their skills in this fight. Um, and on the flip side, Varus never really had much he needed to do. Had that on hit build, was just taking down the towers while his Maokai and Jace did all the heavy lifting. So
Yeah, I agree. As we will see you guys in the next game. All right, welcome
That
back. Clown Gaming versus CCG. See the Rumble ban again by Clown Gaming and the Jarvan ban. Uh, yeah,
Yes, we see Clown
Jarvan
Gaming
ban.
on the blue side this time, still opting for that Rumble and Jarvan ban. And it will be that Senna ban coming through once again for CCG. We'll see if all three of the bans are just ran back again, as we see the Ashe as well coming in. So it looks like so far some pretty similar drafts to game one, but this time Clown Gaming opting to take away that red side rel.
Yeah, I feel like they maybe could have picked it, but taking it away is also not the worst option if they don't want to, draft around it, play around it. Belveth ban being covered. I would like to see a strong blue side pickup instead of this Belveth ban, maybe some Oriana, something like that. But no, we do see the Belveth being locked in as the ban. From Clown Gaming, I would like to see an Oriana pickup, something like that, something strong, something like that. What do you think they should pick up here?
I mean, I agree with the sentiment behind the Oriana. I think she's a super powerful mid lane on the current patch. Doesn't have very many lanes that she loses. I think the Varus as well
Okay.
has also been performing pretty comfortably. So just opting for that same first pick Varus. We'll see if they opt into the same on hit build I'm expecting. And we see CCG hovering that Maokai. It was quite big for their jungler Fnatic in the last game. So we'll see if he's able to replicate that same performance. As they will just go for that Jace Maokai duo once again.
Yeah, Maokai Jace, we just saw it, absolutely demolish Clown Gaming last game. I definitely think it's a good pickup here on the red side as neither of them were banned. So, messages on this Jace definitely be something to deal with for Clown Gaming. As a response, I think again, Oriana, not the worst matchup into Jace, as yep, she is locked in. Nocturne locked in for the side of Clown Gaming, so we are seeing, the Oriana Nocturne combo coming out. What do you think CCG should respond with?
Yeah, I quite like this Oriana Nocturne for the side of Clown Gaming. The biggest issue they had in the last game is that they didn't have the proper range to gap close onto the poke of CCG. So with the Varus being taken away, it looks like they're hovering the Seraphine, going to be optimizing more for this Jace Maokai side of the matchup, which makes sense given how the last game went, just bolstering them with an Enchanter. But I do think that as it stands, Cloud Gaming are coming away with a little bit of a draft lead. Once again, I just think Nocturne and Orianna function super well together. Orianna's super strong in the current meta. We'll have to see what comes in on these R3 and R4, but I'm expecting CCG to pick something more along the lines of the Aatrox and Renekton this time instead of the Fiora, but we'll have to see what they end up deciding on.
Yeah, as CCG looking for that Nautilus ban potentially. Yep, it is locked in. For Clown Gaming, I think we would maybe want to ban another Enchanter. We could see a duo Enchanter bot lane coming out for CCG. Maybe the Seraphine Sona, something along those lines. I don't think it's the worst. Into Clown Gaming, just bolstering up that Jace and Maokai and making that Maokai extremely tanky, buffing up that Jace. But you know, we will see what they opt into. Is Alistar potentially being banned on the side of CCG? And yep, it is locked in.
Yeah, you can tell CCG understand that Con Gaming need another engaged character to support this Nocturne. Orianna, Nautilus, and Alistar both being the premier ones left. What with that Rel and Rakan taken away. So we'll see what they opt for. And actually, it looks like they might deny the last engaged support in the Leona from the side of Con Gaming. I think Thresh or Pike are very dangerous to pick on R4, mostly just there for hovers, because you can obviously get counterpicked by something like the Blitzcrank. Leona, super safe R4 option, guarantee the counterpick for their top laner, and we'll have to see what Clown Gaming are going to opt into, both respectively in the support role and the top lane role.
Oh, I don't know about this Renata. I think it's definitely a strong pickup, good pairing with Varus, but I don't see it having, I don't see it being the most optimal pickup for Clown Gaming. It's definitely not the worst pick for sure, but I think we would like to see something more along the lines of. I think they will be locking in the Renata. So, for the side of CCG, they are going with that Seraphine Leona bot lane. Seraphine, very safe character, and Leona there to just make sure she gets through the laning phase alive. Able to dish out some of that poke maybe. Um, but into that mid game, the Seraphine is going to be a very, very powerful tool to keep this Jace alive. Give him that move speed, give him get that CC out with the with her ultimate. So we will see how that pans out.
Yeah, Renekton locked for the side of Con Gaming. We'll see if CCG opt for another counter style matchup in the Jax or the Fiora, or if they'll just trade with another Drain Tank like the Aatrox. They're hovering the Jax for now. It is PCL's, I believe it is his most played character, in fact. So super practiced on this Jax champion, and it will be locked in. So we'll see if he's able to affect that 1v1. I do want to touch on that Renata once again. Functions super well with the Varus. I think for the side of Clown Gaming, it works very well with the team. The one caveat in this game being that unfortunately she doesn't have a ton of utility with her ult, just given that there's no hyper carries on the enemy team. But we'll have to see how these two end up facing off in the actual fights.
Yeah, for sure. Jax, very, very, very strong top laner, and has a good time into the Renekton. So I think we will want to see top lane trying to be affected early game to make sure this Jax can't get out of control by the side of Clown Gaming here. So definitely something to keep an eye out.
Yeah, CCG signaling that they're for sure going to be playing towards this top side. Seraphine and Leona are just there for support roles. They're just there to help the team, provide some utility. It will be the Jason Jax functioning as the main carries in this comp. And on the flip side, we should expect Cloud Gaming to play towards that bot side in the Varus and the Renata.
Yep. And on that note, we'll see you guys when the game starts.
just some trading back and forth. It looks like the Varus Renata should be able to get lead push, which is pretty expected into this melee matchup. They have that advanced poke as the Jace is looking for a little bit of trading, but the QE does go wide. So overall, just lanes going pretty much as expected.
Yeah,
And
for
the
sure.
Nocturne, yep, just full clearing right down from that top side to the red side.
Yeah, both junglers are pathing, opposite sides. So, I do think Maokai pathing top, you know, maybe not the most optimal as Jax will have the push, but that will allow him to get that priority for that, scuttle. Maybe look for a little bit of an invade on the respawning camps.
And I think smartly for the side of Kong Gaming, they've made sure that their Nocturne is on the opposite side of the map as the Maokai, especially since he doesn't have that flash. It means that an early game scuffle could be pretty detrimental to him. So he's able to just safely clear his camps. Maokai's gonna get the bad news that unfortunately his time will not pay off in this invade. Nocturne is safely on the bot side of the map, and they will just concede both halves.
Yeah, a little slightly unfortunate as he did skip two camps to look for that invade with that Jax push that he had. But yeah, that will slow down his clear just a little bit. But at least the Scuttle Crab won't be contested, so it's not the biggest deal.
And a pretty sizable CS lead for only the first 3 waves down here in the bot lane. Varus already pulling ahead 7 whole creeps, so pretty much a whole wave negated for the side of CCG. We'll see if they're able to keep this level of dominance up. As you can see, this Renata just being super aggressive. Notice that the Leona and the Seraphine do not have a ton of damage in the early game, so she's free to do as she pleases and push them out.
Yeah, very smart by Cryogen, just zoning them all from the wave, making sure the Seraphine has a bad time, isn't able to freely scale as much as she'd like to. And yeah, I mean, just a
Some
little bit
light
trade coming up in the
trading.
mid lane.
And you can see this is Jace looking for those all-in windows, utilizing that phase rush to just quickly get his damage off and then run out. Not looking for much more, just some chip damage. Both of these mid laners have the teleport anyways, so any trading that would come down would likely
Not be
not
the
mean that they
biggest
would
deal.
actually die. They would just be forced to take the base first. So we'll see. Once again, Nocturne just able to safely get that recall off and start his full clear once again. So overall, pretty much what you'd want to see from the side of Con Gaming, making sure that that Nocturne has a safe 1-6. We'll see what they're able to affect on the map once he does have that ultimate available.
Yeah, and as for potential gank targets, I do think mid lane is a pretty good target. Although, he does have the phase rush with that Orianna ball. It is pretty easy to, lock him up, pull him back in, following up on that Nocturne ultimate. So I think that's somewhere that Excelsis will be looking. Even bot lane, there is, some response that the Seraphine and Leona can do, but I think the ultimate with the Varus and, the ultimate with the Renata as well should be enough to lock them down. So I think Nocturne does have some good ult targets. Top lane, there's actually a chance they could get 1v2 depending on what items Jax has, on his base at the moment. But I think he will want to focus a little bit more on the bot side there.
It will be that reset coming through for the Jax and the Orianna. You see the Sheen picked up for the Jax, so he's doing pretty solid for himself. Once you get that Sheen, you have a lot of trading power. As you see, he leaps forward, manages to land the stun as well, but a good stun by Renekton guarantees the safety, and Jax actually invests
Oh no.
the ultimate. So a pretty huge victory for the side of the Renekton, as his team is also starting up the Dragon. We'll see if CCG opt into fighting this, as they're posturing towards, but they should be aware that the Orianna is here first. So we'll have to see if they end up backing up or if they pick this fight. The double root going wide for the Seraphine, as both teams just sort of staring at each other, and it will eventually be both teams just backing away. But the Jax is forced to flash as the Renekton is looking for the all-in, pops the Dominus, and lets him know who is in charge of this top lane. Pretty solid victory in the top lane for Boil Oil.
Yeah, Boil the Oil just, after TPing back, he knows that Jax wasted his ult a little bit earlier. He goes in, pops that Dominus, shows him, who's boss. Very smart play by him.
Yeah, so a flash being achieved solely by himself in the top lane. We'll see if the Nocturne is able to affect anything with that once the Paranoia comes on, or if he'll decide to keep playing for the mid lane. As some more trading, just going back and forth. Both these mid laners have phase rush, so it's pretty difficult to make anything stick once those three sort of spell combos have been blown, and both of them are running away as fast as they can.
Yeah, Messers with a slight CS lead and also slight health advantage. Will we see Nocturne gank him is the question. I still do think, although he is a little bit healthier, that there is a chance that he could go down. But yeah, like you said earlier, Jax is also a pretty good option. Definitely not what we were expecting in that matchup. Jax having to blow his flash, definitely not optimal, as it should be a winning lane for him. So just up to Excelsis to see what he wants to do with the paranoia, as he actually
And
does reach level 6 walking back from base.
Nextbelsis was spotted on that blue side invade, so you see Fnatic trading away, is able to get both the Grand Prix spawn and the blue currently, so coming out a little bit ahead in terms of the respective invades. However, most importantly, as you just said, the Nocturne does now have the paranoia, so he is a champion. We'll see which lane he chooses to affect. Whether it will be that Jax who's a target for lack of flash, or if it will be targeting that Jace, making sure that messages won't have the same game impact that he was able to have last game.
We see the support from Clown Gaming coming up to contest this first Rift Herald spawn, because Renekton also has the prio, but I think CCG might have to give this up, Leona is here, but Clown Gaming are already in the mid lane trying to get that push advantage, trying to get that lane prio. I don't think CCG would want to fight this.
Yeah, neither bot lane is in position to roam, so it should just be a strict 4v4 over this Rift Herald, as it looks like the Jax Counter-Strike does go wide, but his
Uh-oh.
team is here first, it appears, as the Leona lands the E, the root does come forward, as the Maokai is ulting, but the Nocturne is here, he has the Paranoia, he dashes forward, connects the kill onto the Jax, and the Leona should soon be to follow, and it will be a double kill for Boil the Oil in the top lane.
Yeah, really good play by Boil the Oil, knowing that his team was there. Maybe, not being aware that the enemy team was there, but it just doesn't matter. The Dominus being popped just makes him so tanky, just not being able to be taken down by the members of CCG. We do see him, getting a double kill here. Now he's very, very strong. This Jax matchup actually might go a lot better than expected.
You can see CCG just not respecting the Paranoia. They think they have the 3v2, they think they have the man advantage, but the Nocturne is so quick to join. And unfortunately, the target of their choice was this Renekton. Even if they had managed to kill him, the Renekton still has the bailout. And they were certainly going to trade one of those kills forth. So you can see Cloud Gaming in this game finally able to walk away with a gold lead for what it feels like the first time this series, 1.3 in the lead.
Yeah, respect is the name of the game when you're playing against Nocturne. There's a chance he can be anywhere, always, impacting the map from, like multiple screens away. Being able to get that impact in, get that fear, get that, blind on the enemy team. So definitely something that CCG are going to have to be more wary of going forward.
Yeah, some light trading in the mid lane. Orianna is able to connect that QW onto the Jace, which equalizes it a little bit more in her favor, but still overall pretty well played by this Jace. He's currently up 14 CS in this mid lane matchup, so certainly no slouch in either the laning phase or the mid game portion of this Jace gameplay, as we saw last game and currently, as the Renekton is looking for an all-in dashes forward. You can see he was hunting for an opportunity to land that enhanced stun once the Jax came out of the Counter-Strike, but a good timing on the leap strike away means that PCL will be safe.
Yeah, I mean, 10 CS lead up in the top lane, just really, really detrimental for Jax, as he is, the one who's supposed to be winning this matchup. That early game play by Boil the Oil definitely solidified his lead into this game. So we're going to have to see if he can, extend that lead into these mid-game team fights where he can just be extremely tanky, just, getting in that CC, getting in that...
As the Solar Flare goes wild, but
the
the Maokai ult is following, forces the flash from the Renata, as the Varus lands the WQ onto the rooted up Seraphine. So while they do manage to force the Renata flash away, they do invest the Maokai ultimate, and their AD carry gets chunked quite low. So we'll see if CCG will be forced to concede this Infernal Drake off of it. However, the Nocturne is resetting, as is the Varus. So it looks like Cloud Gaming first want to back and invest the gold that they currently have in their pockets. We'll see if CCG can collect the Dragon off of this small window.
Yeah, not the biggest deal for Clown Gaming, as they already, did end up picking up the first Drake, and it was the Mountain Soul, so pretty strong. Sorry, not Soul, Mountain Drake. Pretty strong Drake to pick up, on its own. So I do think giving this Dragon isn't the the worst thing that could happen. So, getting that base timer in definitely good. Even popping this Herald in the mid lane, getting those plates in for the Orianna, and CCG looking for something, trying to stop this Rift Herald, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, the Herald does get the charge off, just some platings going over to the mid and support of the side of Cloud Gaming, as pretty much just
Oh,
get the Drake for free. The Renekton is looking, but Jax does have the Leap Strike, is able to walk away to safety. You can see Cloud Gaming just looking for their reset, don't want to take the risk of the fight while they still have money in their pockets, just opting to play this one cautiously, a little bit more smartly. Definitely got bit in the butt
oh, 3-man in the
in
top
the last
side.
game. Yes, the paranoia comes down. They're waiting out the leap strike. The Nocturne does leap forward. The Jax flash Q away. He might be able to escape, but the smite comes through as the flash W from the Renekton, and it will be the Orianna picking up the kill in the end. As the Jax does go down 0-2, this counter pick just not working out in the end for the R5 Jax.
Yeah, Debonair, really smart for him to hold on to that shockwave, knowing that Jax has the
Was the
flash.
Leona's going in? The Seraphine ult coming through onto the Renata, but the Leona is forced to flash away. The Maokai ult finally comes down, cleansed by the Varus, but the Maokai is dashing forward, picks up the Renata. She's in the bailout, but they're unable to secure any kill, and she does go down to the Maokai once again.
So unfortunate for Zev that just one was able to escape with just a sliver of HP. Fnatic coming in, getting that flash W onto the Renata, securing that kill for himself. So, I definitely think him taking that kill is pretty good. We saw his performance last game. Definitely nothing to be scoff at. Absolutely demolished Cloud Gaming, and now again getting himself accelerated. Just need to see what Cloud Gaming are gonna do in response.
Yeah, certainly Fnatic has been no slouch on this Maokai. He's popped off in the last game. He's able to get the first kill for his team in this game. Certainly less accelerated, so we'll see if he opts into the Radiant Virtue build or if he recreates that Leandri's build from last game. We'll have to see. It will certainly be that standard Demonic Embrace picked up first though. As looking at the items across the board, Orianna does have her Mythic. This Varus, interestingly enough, opting for the Wit's End, wants that extra MR into the Seraphine Leona lane phase, just to make sure that when the Maokai comes down, he has the tankiness to survive. But it will mean for now that he's a little bit low on damage in comparison to the more standard first items that you would go on this character.
Yeah, that is something I was going to point out as well. I mean, even into this Maokai, if we do see that damage build come out, Wit's End is going to be something that's going to be very, very useful for him, hopefully helping him survive that, engage with the Seraphine and Leona combo there. So definitely good optimization picked up. Just have to see if it actually amounts to anything.
Yeah, and the gold lead has now grown to 2k off the back of that Rift Herald play, as well as just the CS lead for the ADC and top laner of the side of Cloud Gaming. Moving up now, just clearing out vision and looking like they're in position to take this second Rift Herald respawn. We'll see if they choose to make a play onto this top side, as it looks like some pings are coming down, but they're backing more towards the mid lane, just supporting the Varus and getting the push.
Yeah, Boil the Oil trying to get this tower, but PCL is not letting him do it for free, making sure that if he wants to get this tower, he will have to fight for it. So, we do want to see Cloud Gaming secure some of these tier 1s that they haven't got, bot lane, mid lane, and top lane. So,
Oh, it looks like the
SBC
Dyna's coming down. The
lane.
ult comes through for the Maokai, but the teleport also as well. The Shockwave onto the Jace. She is rooted up and will go down. The Dominus comes forward as he's dashing forward. However, it's 1v4 for the Renekton now. We'll see as Jax manages to leap out of the tower. Blinking health bars for the side of CCG, but they do walk away with this play 1-for-0 on the kill. As the Maokai is leaping forward again, manages to get the knockback onto the Renata. The hostile takeover does come forward, but she's popped, she's gonna die. And it will be the Seraphine picking up the kill, and that means that the Renekton is in big danger. 5-1 down here on the bottom side of the map, and he's stuck here under the tower. No Dominus, no flash. Seraphine is tanking the tower. Have to imagine he's gonna die, but a good Gore Drinker is not gonna help him in the end, as it will be the Jace picking up that shutdown.
Yeah, Cryogen just walking up a little too far, causing his death there. And we saw Debonair try to ult the wave, but it was a cannon wave, and he just wasn't able to get all those minions out from under the tower. The cannon being able to tank an extra few shots from the tower before they did engage. So pretty unfortunate for the side of Cloud Gaming there. They did end up losing, 3 for 0, I'm pretty sure. So very unfortunate.
Yeah, but despite the kills being handed over, Oriana is able to secure most of that first wave that crashed, and the Renekton gets a big chunk of the second wave, which means that in combination with the Nocturne taking the tier 1 top tower and the Varus taking the tier 1 mid tower, the gold lane is just the same as it was before that play, 2k in favor of Cloud Gaming as they set up for this Ocean Drake.
Yeah, we do have Prio in the bot side, from this Oriana. So I do think CCG are not going to be able to make it in time. They are going up to the top side to try to set up some vision there, as all the members of Clown Gaming are in the bot side. So, just giving this Drake, not really able to fight over it, as it did invest a lot to kill the Renekton and the Oriana in the bot side just a minute ago. So
as you can see here, Cloud Gaming has forced their way into the blue side jungle. They have total control. If you look at this vision line laid down, and they've gotten this Rift Herald charge, takes the tier 1. We'll see if they manage to get the tier 2 charge off, as a good Q by the Renata almost manages to save the charge, but it is taken down in the end. Eye is punked, and Cloud Gaming walk away with that tier 1 taken.
yeah, Clown Gaming, they do have a 2k gold lead here on CCG, so you will want to see this Renekton, coming into these fights. It's definitely going to be something a little difficult for CCG to deal with. I want to make sure he can get in there and, soak up all that damage, soak up some of that CC, so that we can get the Nocturne and Oriana combo going, get that big shockwave follow-up, just so we can get that big engage.
Yeah, and we do see with that Aegis in the inventory of the Maokai that it will be the Radiant Virtue variant of this build. Obviously does not have the early game quadra kill accelerating him this time around. So just going more for that standard sort of utility setup for his team. Has a bit of damage with the ease, has that extra healing with the ultimate. And we'll see how this sort of affects the manner in which they play this game, because his damage was a big factor in a lot of those close skirmishes where he lived to the end.
Yeah, something to note here. Jace has his, Mirror Mana completed here, fully stacked, and he is 10 CS per minute, so he is extremely fed. That's definitely going to be the most problematic member on CCG for Clown Gaming, so I'm going to have to see what they do to deal with him, maybe try to get him picked off or something in the side lane. But with this poke, they're just not going to be able to enter these choke points efficiently, so Messages is being able to do whatever he wants here with this ginormous lead that he has.
Yeah, and we just see the vision control being traded back and forth, both teams coming off of resets, moving into the enemy jungle, getting that vision laid down, and then Clown Gaming obviously being forced back a bit by the poke of the Jace, as it looks like the Paranoia will be coming through onto the Jax, waiting for the Leaf Strike to come through before the Shockwave. It does come through, and the kill confirmed will come over to Debonair as he goes up 2-1, and they take control of this bottom side lane. And unfortunately for CCG, they don't really have anything they can trade for. The mid wave is cleared by the Varus, and so they can take the tier 1 tower. Their top wave is not in a good place, but the Maokai looks like will be trying to force a kill onto the Rana as the hostile takeover comes forward. She does have the locket as the Varus flashes forward, stuns the Seraphine. She's forced to flash away, and the Orion is able to secure the kill. The Maokai will be sure to follow. And it looks like it will be a Baron setup for the side of Clown Gaming as they take the fight 2-for-0 in the mid lane and rotate quickly over.
CCG just, investing so much, but for what? They didn't even end up getting anything. I guess we did get the both sums from the Varus and the flash from the support here on Clown Gaming, but I think the Baron is just a little bit more important than that. Debonair,
looks like they're posturing for the fight. The Jax is getting in there. The leap strike forward from both the Jace and the Jax. He's able to get onto the backline. You can see this Jax is putting in so much work in the backline, and it will be a teamfight victory for CCG as they're able to secure 3 kills quickly. The Jax is forcing the Renekton flashes after the Jace on the other half of the fight is managing to secure the final Baron. And so Clown Gaming are able to take the Baron, but at what cost? Only the Renekton alive, and you have to imagine, as he's able to dash away, so there will be 1 Baron left for Clown Gaming, but a massive swing in gold as CCG quickly pick up 4 kills off of the back of the Jace and the Jax working in tandem.
Yeah, their gold lead was definitely a lot bigger, but we do see CCG closing the gap with that, team wipe almost there. And something to note, we saw the Varus have the Aegis on the last fight. I think maybe a little bit, if he opted into a more damage-heavy build, it might have helped a little bit more, because we did see that that Aegis didn't really help him survive, as he does, end up going for that Heartsteel build here, on this new patch, something a little bit that's getting very popular.
Or Radiant.
So, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, with the Radiant Virtue Varus build. It's been sort of the flavor of the month in high elo, just for the amount of sustain power this Varus has. The longer he can stay in these fights, the more procs he can get off onto that blight. And so it's sort of taken over the high elo Varus world by storm, so to speak. But fortunately for Cloud Gaming, they are able to get back onto the map fast, so they have river control going into this, but we'll see if CCG will just forgo the Drake and opt to push down mid. So you can see Cloud Gaming being forced to respond here.
Oh, messages with that shock blast doing so much damage onto the Renata. It's something that we did say that they will have to look out for. Messages has his third item completed already. He's going to be doing a lot of damage to this team fight, and we see CCG with this river control. Oh, as actually they do opt for the mid push, but yeah, CCG with this control in the river here. So you see a little trade coming out from the top laners, but it's going to be very hard for Cloud Gaming to advance here with this Maokai Jace combo. Jace is just going to be able to hit a lot of his poke here with the 3 items. It's going to hurt a lot. So Cloud Gaming are going to see if they can either dodge out or do something about this Jace before the fight starts.
And you can see, once you have this position in the river with the Jace and Maokai, it's super hard to push in. It looks like Cloud Gaming are making the call that it's not worth risking a disadvantageous fight. They're just going to reset. They're going to accept the fact that they can't contest this dragon and try and fix their waves while they still have a little bit of time left on this Baron buff. And unfortunately for the Renekton, he played super well in the early game, but he's starting to get outscaled a little bit by the Jax. He has the Divine Sunder, has the Black Cleaver, means that tankiness is not worth quite as much. And it will be CCG pushing into the bottom half of the map and getting control of this spawn side.
Something to note is, this gold lead has been diminished to only 1k. And I think at this point in the game, 1k is really not that much. It is something, but it's definitely not as much as it was earlier. So Cloud Gaming, although they did have the lead earlier, they are in a more even position. So they're going to have to be a little bit more careful on how they play these team fights. They can't just, out stat check the CCG members with, an immense gold lead anymore. So they're going to have to make sure that they play these fights carefully and help their Varus actually live.
Yeah, and the Seraphine is now on 2 items with that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which pretty much means any spell followed up by her E will root anyone, especially since there's so many slows on the side of her team. Even without considering her item purchase, she has the Maokai with his E slows, the Jace with the Serylda's Grudge. So she's going to be able to put out a lot more value in terms of her utility than she was earlier in this game. So we'll have to see if Cloud Gaming will be able to find that Miracle Engage onto the Seraphine, onto the Jace, onto the backline, and delete them before they even have a chance to sort of sustain and turn these fights around.
Yeah, and even with their own E, even if it's not, the double empowered E, just one E will root the enemy. So I think the Rylai is definitely a good pickup here for her.
As the Paranoia comes through and they leap forward onto the Seraphine. Good spell shield, but the Maokai ult is traded back and forth as he's in the heart of the enemy team. The hostile takeover slides through the entire enemy team as it will be the Renata picking up the kill onto the Seraphine. Cloud Gaming looks like they found the fight they're looking for as the Leona is trying to sacrifice herself to delay them, but the Renekton is having none of it. He's chasing after the remaining members of CCG, 2 for 0 in the fight for Cloud Gaming with a clean engage from the Nocturne.
Yeah, Lunar just carelessly using his ultimate. I mean, onto a Nocturne, I don't think that's the best idea, especially when he has that spell shield. It just doesn't hit anyone, doesn't even hit the Nocturne because of that spell shield. So I think maybe holding on to that a little bit would have been a little more optimal. Leona having to give her life as well to ensure that the rest of her team members can escape. And even though Messages has this lead, a little bit of a misstep can cause you to get demolished by this Nocturne Paranoia. He does have the 2 items now, so he is dishing out a lot of damage. That Black Cleaver actually enables his Varus to do damage as well, even though he does have, the Radiant Virtue. So definitely something that we're going to have to be looking out for, this Black Cleaver value.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of CCG, Baron was not opulent when that fight occurred. So they don't lose that, they just lose those 2 members and the gold handed over from the result of those kills. But they do have to be careful, knowing that this is a possibility. Knowing that if the Seraphine gets caught again, as the Paranoia does come down, Flash Root goes wide from the Varus, but the TP behind from the Aatrox as he's leaping forward onto the Seraphine. Root comes down as the Redemption does as well, but these members are just so tanky as the Shockwave does come forward onto 2, but it will be the Orianna who's going down. The Jace is able to confirm the kill onto the Renekton as he's sweeping through the enemy team, as they're not able to confirm their kills, and it will be Clown Gaming who are getting turned on from their own engage, just not able to get the health bars completely down. They're not able to secure these kills, and it's the side of CCG that are able to win the fight.
Yeah, Debonair hitting that shockwave, but it just doesn't matter. There's no engage left to to follow up with it. So, I mean, definitely a nice try by Clown Gaming, but they just obviously got rolled in this team fight after that Jace was able to go off.
Yeah, you can see there a bit of miscommunication. They're wanting to hold that Nocturne engage until the Renekton has finished TPing, but by the time the TP finishes channeling and he's in position to flank, the Nocturne ult has run out and he's not able to head onto the target that he was initially hoping for. I think the most brutal part about this team fight is they're not even able to force any flashes for it. They lose, and all they lost was summoners from their own team.
Yeah, Varus, does have his third item completed now, so we will see if that does help him in these team fights, able to get a little more damage out, but I think it might just be a little too late. CCG, able to get this mid push here with this Baron, so Clown Gaming are going to have a little bit of a hard time to come back in this game. We do see Renekton on the flank, but I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish anything.
Yeah, and I want to see them target this Jace while his flash is down. They need to kill this member before the fights go on, because Messages has just been doing so much work as the Jax is taking advantage of the blast gun to leap forward. He's in the middle of 3. He's popping the ultimate, and he's living for so long, but he might have gone too far. Is in the Zhonya's now as the lights are turned out. Is he able to counter-strike away? He will not, as he will be killed. But the Seraphine ult is huge. It lands onto 3, as the hostile takeover does as well. It's a bloodbath in the middle of these fights as the Orianna is able to pick up the kill onto the Jace, and the Leona is following immediately after. A teamfight victory for Clown, and they're TPing. It looks like they're calling to end the game. They need to save this wave and make sure that the Seraphine can't clear it. Orianna is doing what she can, but will she be able to stop? No, she cannot. She's out of mana. Oh my goodness. A flash away from the Seraphine. She's doing what she can. She's buying so much time for the side of CCG, and it looks like Clown Gaming are aware that they cannot finish her off. They're pushing the mid wave. They're calling for the Drake. They know that they can no longer end the game, so they're just going to take their initial goal in this team fight and step on up to Soul Point.
Oh my goodness, what a good play by Lunar, just making sure that he doesn't die even when he does get TP'd on. Stalling out the members of Clown Gaming, doing actually a lot of damage, with that double Q, with that, empowered effect. So very well played by him, making sure that Clown Gaming can't look for this end here. 30 minutes into the game, we do see Clown Gaming with 3 of the Drakes. Next will be their Soul Point. So we're gonna have to see if CCG can do something about that, get some setup earlier, get that Jace poke out. So that's definitely something they're going to have to be looking out for. Jace does have his Spear of Shojin completed, so he can get 2 of those shock blasts out with the acceleration gate. So Clown Gaming going to have to be even more careful now to, give away their position.
I think Clown just need to play for this Soul win condition. This Ocean Soul works super well with their comp. It's super painful for poke comps to play into it as well, as it looks like they're looking for a pick on the Jax. The Nocturne Paranoia does come forward. He leap strikes away, but he's not able to escape the fear. He trades the ultimate and he leap strikes away, but it looks like he's not able to escape. Oh, he's able to leap strike to safety, and now the Renekton is the one who's caught in the enemy backline. He has no assistance for him. He's living with the Sterix. He's living with the Gore Drinker, but he will go down to the Jace as Clown Gaming just stepping too far up. They want the pick, but they don't have the rest of the members.
Boy, the Oil almost going for that hero play, almost making it work out, but he's just not tanky enough, even with that Sterix, even with that Gore Drinker. So definitely a little bit of an overextension, a little bit of a hard commit by Boil the Oil and Excelsius. So that's definitely going to be a little detrimental to their lead that they have acquired, but there's still a chance that they can clutch out this win.
Yeah, we'll see if this Varus can contain this Jax. It looks like the Jax is pretty wary of this Radiant Virtue Titanic Hydra build, not looking to dive the AD carry under an inhib tower like most Jaxes would. But with this mana advantage, CCG are just closing in on the map, fishing for these inner towers, fishing for that gold lead. They're now only 2k down, so crawling back a little bit after that last teamfight loss from them, as they will finally reset on the map and start to prep for the Baron that will surely spawn soon.
Yeah, although they're 2K down, I do think CCG still might have a little bit of an advantage. This Jace and Maokai combo, just being able to set up to these objectives earlier, is just making it a living hell for Clown Gaming to try to advance. They are getting these engages, but just one misstep, this Jace Shock Blast hits you, boom, half your HP is gone as a carry. Even as Oriana, even as this Varus who does, have the two tank items, but I think they're gonna have to be a little bit more careful before they start these fights. I do agree with what you said. Jace does have to die before these team fights, or else he's gonna be able to go off, go ham, absolutely just demolish and roll down on Cloud Gaming.
Yeah, and there's so much sustain in these respective fights, but it's CCG who have picked up the grievous wounds. We saw the Maokai buy a little bit ago, does finish that Morellonomicon just now, but it's been able to cut that healing of the Renekton so much, it means that he's not able to live for as long as he wants to. And on the flip side, there's no one on the side of Calm Gaming that really has any tools to deal with the Seraphine sustain and shielding. So we'll have to see if they decide to itemize towards that. I do see an elixir in the pot of Oriana, so it's looking like Cloud Gaming is judging that
Oh,
this next fight will likely decide the game, and they're prepping for it accordingly.
yeah, just going back to these shock blasts, he's just demolishing the Renata Glass here, making it so that she's poked out before the fight. She's going to be a lot more easily taken down when they do decide to engage. Even when they do, or even when they don't have the control, Jace can still get that poke down. Make it so Clown Gaming have to pull the trigger early. When they might not want to. So that's definitely something they're gonna have to look out for. Messages, just making it so that CCG are still in this game.
Yeah, and you can see CCG is able to wrest control of this topside river from Cloud Gaming as they're on a reset right now. It doesn't look like they've cleared out much of the vision. You can see a couple wards behind them. But that Ocean Soul is spawning, so we'll have to see what these teams decide to play for. Will they opt to trade the objectives, trade that soul for the Baron, or will they pick one to fight over? It looks like CCG want to stall and force Cloud Gaming to make a decision.
Yeah, I think that's definitely smart by them. I do think the Ocean Soul might be a little bit more valuable with this Nocturne and Renekton. And even the Varus actually with his Radiant Virtue. So we will have to see what Clown Gaming decide. The Baron is still a good option. They do have that gold lead still, I guess. So they can, maybe end with, pushing those waves and getting those tier 2 towers. But we'll just have to see what they decide.
And you can see the side lanes have been largely neglected for the last few minutes. It is now the Renekton moving to the top lane, and the Jax moving down to the bottom lane. They're going to start prepping these, getting the push so that their team has a little bit more flexibility on the map. I expect Jax to solo this Ocean Drake, but it looks like Cloud Gaming are aware they want to force the enemy team to come to the Baron before that Ocean is finished. They should know that the Jax is on it, so I expect them to start this up any second now.
Yeah, they definitely have to commit for this, or else it's going to be a 1-for-0 objective trade. So yeah, it looks like they will go for this. Jace is looking at them though. Let's see if he can get a big shock blast here.
The lights do come down, but it looks like the Maokai ult is going to force Cloud Gaming out of the pit. Fortunately, it looks like they're going in. Jax is able to stun. The Seraphine ult is going through the entire enemy team. Cleansed by Varus as the hostile takeover is traded. Both these top laners are just living for so long as the GA is popped from the Renekton. No one has died quite yet, but it's the Maokai flashing forward onto the enemy. Maokai is the one who ends up going down as blue team is sent reeling. They only have 3 members left, blinking health bars, and the red team just has so much sustain. Flash forward from the Jax means that the Oriana dies as well. So you can see the red team is calling to end the game. CCG knows that they have the victory in their jaws. The Renata is looked for, caught by the Jax, will be stopped, as is the Nocturne, and this Jace is more than enough to end the game on his own. So you see a brave try by Excelsis to try and turn this 1v2 around, but he's not able to accomplish anything. The Renata will surely not be able to hold on her own. Just some very close team fights from both of these teams, but unfortunately it is CCG that does come out on top, and Cloud Gaming will be knocked out of the bracket. As you can see, CCG, they aren't satiated yet. They're going for that extra kill, feeding that KDA. The Seraphine ult just as the victory encore as they cleanly close out the series 2-0.
Yeah, Messages was definitely the, insane carry by Messages. But we actually, if we go back to that last team fight, Oriana was actually forced out, not being able to use her ultimate. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why they weren't able to win there. She had to run away. Her ultimate was still up. So just not being able to use that was definitely one of the big determining factors in that fight.
Yeah, and you could just see both those top laners in the respective enemy teams buying time. But unfortunately, it's the Jax who's able to buy more time as his team turns quicker onto the carries. They're able to force the sums out of the Varus with a very excellent Seraphine ultimate, and they're able to close that teamfight victory out through that excessive damage from the Jace. Just look at that carry, 55,000 damage.
Yeah, that's definitely nothing to laugh at. He was getting that poke in, making it so that Clown Gaming had to either, stand there and just take it or, pull the trigger before they would like to. And, they were just getting forced to pull the trigger. And, we can just see they did have that gold lead throughout the full game, but Jace just being fed just made it so that it just didn't matter how big the gold lead was. It was just literally impossible for them to, take these objectives safely. At the end we do see obviously that CCG brought it back, but very, very well played by messages there.
Yeah, definitely. And some good tries with the engages from the side of Cloud Gaming, but unfortunately, that will be the end of it for them as they do go down 0-2, and it will be CCG advancing along the bracket.